Okay, time for another update. So I've been at the Subaru dealership here in Sweden, Frölunda, and we examined the problem. They went through the logs and they saw the same thing that I did on my computer. And I can just show you that in the morning before I came here, I just tried to take one of the problems out of the equation and fill the tank. I didn't fill it all the way up, and it wasn't planned. I'm pretty sure it was the pump at the gas station that just went out, but still I got enough fuel into the car. As you can see, it's almost full, and what do you know? No engine lights and no limp mode. So what he did for me, in this case, he just checked the logs and he discovered that he found two problems. One problem could be the dash that indicates wrong, and the other problem is the same problem I found, that the sensor in the gas tank couldn't register how much gas was in the tank. And what they found as a solution are one routine thing they can do, and that is changing the level sensor, which is basically a filter change, sort of. And you can do that anyway on the car, like a refurbished thing you have to do later on an older car. And having in mind, this car has run 14,000 metric miles, but the engine is maybe 4,000 miles, as it was changed during an engine failure. So anyhow, they told me to just keep running the car and see what's happening, and if I get the same problem, I'll just do this, changing the filter, the level sensor that is, and see if that problem disappears altogether. But what they can't promise is that the indication of the instrument panel won't show anything on the dash. So we'll just see if that is the problem or if this just went away. So I will try to fill this tank up, and I will put some of my STP products that I use when I find problems like these, and it should clear out the tank of algae and stuff like that. If that's the problem, we'll just see. So thanks again, Subaru. These guys are awesome, and they're always trying to save me cash on these kind of reparations of the car. So I'm gonna hope for a better repair in the future if something wrong happens. Alright, so when I returned from the Subaru dealership, I got another code from the computer on the car that told me again about the mass airflow filter sensor. And yeah, I had to put it apart, and everything was pretty oily and gross with a lot of insects and stuff like that. Could have been the problem. I also blew the sensor as much as I could from the airflow socket to the airbox, and again, this saved my ass, apparently, I guess, because I can communicate with the car and send all clear code to remove everything in the log. And I took a fast spin afterwards to just test out the car again, and I couldn't trigger the engine light again, and I was pushing it pretty hard, going from like 0 to 60 in like a couple seconds, and during a cold start this as well. So I think that solved the problem. So again, I had some sort of a problem with the fuel sensor. Could have solved the problem with the new fuel I put in, and I'm gonna put some extra fluids as well that cleans the system and see if that keeps it on the wraps. And the airflow meter was actually an error that was true, because I was not really convinced, because usually I don't need to clear the air filter that common and often. So but in this case it was pretty shitty, so I guess that was the problem. And have in mind, if you're in a workshop and the mechanic is doing this for you, this is going to take a couple of hours to clean the airbox, you know, rinse it and everything. So that's a bunch of money that goes from your savings just to clean out an airbox, and this is pretty easy to do on your car, on most cars that is, and in a diesel that is pretty shitty. So I think that solved the problem. Just another thing to scratch off from doing own maintenance and saving cash on a diesel 2009 Impreza Subaru. Hopefully this holds up and we can use the car again.